Hello, everybody, and welcome to this bonus video about how to snatch the attention of any publisher or agent or editor or pub board. I wanted to create this video because a lot of you are going to want to go the traditional route. Ever since when did I start this journey? About 21 years old, when I decided I wanted to write and publish traditionally. That's what I wanted to do. That's where the start was. And it taught me so much going through that process. Now, today I've done everything from traditional publishing, hybrid publishing, self-publishing, and I've learned a lot of the pros and cons of each. That is for a different video, a different thing. This video is going to focus exclusively on those who really want to publish traditionally, who want to sign with an agent, sign with a publishing house, and get their book done in a way where, hey, you get paid in advance up front, and then the publisher sells it and you get a small percentage of the royalties. Sometimes this works for people. Most of the time, you're going to want to have a big platform to go this route. It's gotten more and more difficult to get a traditional publisher because most writers approach it thinking all they have to have is great writing, but really there are several things that you have to do to land an agent, to land an editor, and to make it past pub board. Those are kind of the steps you have to do to actually get your book published. I'm going to go over the ones that absolutely give you an incredible unfair advantage, like snatch their attention, and basically give you kind of the checklist of, hey, these are the things that you're going to have to do to really make yourself stand out. So number one, right now we're looking at a proposal for a book that landed me a reputable, really great agent. And the very first point I want to hit here is I met this agent. There is true value in just meeting someone face to face. You would think, hey, my writing stands for itself, and hey, my marketing, it speaks for itself. But you can do yourself wonders if you just meet the agents and editors that you want to work with on your book. I have gone to dozens of writing conferences, and frankly, I never went to learn how to write. That was a nice thing, being around your people and learning from others who write. And hey, you go to the sessions that you can to learn. But I really went to conferences to meet the people I really wanted to work with. And I spent all of my time and energy making sure that I put myself in a position to meet them, to learn from them, to see if this is actually the type of person I want to work with and to publish my book. I would go to their classes. I would go to their dinner tables. I would be sure when they were talking, I was there. And before long, these people not only they not only see you as a writer, but then they start to see you as someone they want to work with. They start rooting for you. And that is not always the case. Most of the times, agents and editors at conferences are used to putting up a force field. They know that every writer at that conference wants something from them, wants them to sign them so bad. And so if you take the approach of learning, of making it about them, of being not being desperate. It's interesting if you don't go to these things desperate, but go them thinking more investigatively and learning someone and seeing how you can bring value and learn from them and learn what they're looking for and then provide it the way that they're looking for it. That just gives you such an advantage. And most writers do not do this. Most writers come across as very desperate, and that is a hard position to come from. You want to befriend these agents and editors. You want to be a friend. You want to be a human, not just a writer, not just, you don't want to approach it all business. Too many writers do that. You want to approach it as human. My agents that I've worked with, the editors I've worked with, all were pretty much friends to a degree before we really move forward. Not friends as in, bosom buddies. It's not like we lived in the same state, we got coffee or anything like that, but we'd seen enough of each other at conferences and spoken, had enough conversations, learned about each other's lives. And it's interesting when that happens, agents and editors start to ask you about your work. They start to ask you the questions. Usually it's a writer saying, hey, look at my work. Here it is. You want it to be the other way around. You want the agent or editor saying, what are you working on right now? Have you ever thought about this? Like, hey, this might be a really good idea for you. If they're starting to come up with your ideas for you, you are doing something good. So number one, meet, go to conferences, take the time to get in front of the people you want to work with. That could be writing on their blogs if they have one. That could be showing up at conferences if they're there. Now, right now we're going through a time in the country where conferences are pretty much shut down, but they will be back most likely. And meeting places take place everywhere. It could be Zoom. A lot of, agents or editors might do like a Zoom teaching, like show up, ask questions, get your name and your face in front of them, ask good questions, research them. So be where the people you want to work with, be where they are. That's number one. Number two is you have to follow rules. Way too many writers will just write a few chapters and then shotgun it everywhere. Send it to every agent and editor under the sun. That's not what you want to do. Every agent and editor has a particular way that they want things sent to them. Now, you may think that, oh man, like, come on, that's a lot of work changing it up for this and doing that. And this person wants that and that person wants that. This can be an agent's and editor's way to see if you're someone they want to work with. No one wants to follow someone who just breaks the rules or doesn't listen to very clear instructions. Agents and editors get hundreds, if not thousands of submissions every single year. Some get 200, I think it was 200 a day, 200 a month. I can't remember what it was. I think it was 200 a day. That is a lot of paperwork to go through. This is why they call it the slush pile. And you want to rise to the top. And one of the ways you can do that is to just follow the rules that they have put in place for you. What you see here with Sermon Crunch, you better believe I followed every rule that this agent wanted me to follow, because I wanted him to know that I'm someone who takes their knowledge and expertise and the way they want things seriously, so that I don't have to put a mark against me right before he's even seen my presentation, my proposal, my sample chapters. I want him to know that, hey, I take you seriously and I want you to take me seriously. So follow those rules. Do not just put together a proposal and shotgun it everywhere, disregarding the different rules that different agents and editors have. That's why you want to really create a list of those you really want to work with and study them and study them and study them, and then pitch to them in the exact way that they want to be pitched. Okay, now let's turn our attention to Sermon Crunch here. This proposal helped me sign with a good friend and agent, Steve Lobby. Steve is an amazing guy. Highly recommend him as an agent. And this was for the book Sermon Crunch. Now, Sermon Crunch, as you probably know from different videos, but maybe you don't, so I'll tell you. Sermon Crunch is really what was the beginning of the journey that I started to create for pastors for sermontobook.com. In fact, I used this book to grow an email list of 5,000 pastors at the very beginning when I started Sermon to Book, which then launched a 6 and then 7-figure business. And so this was a really, really cool journey. This got me signed with Steve, and we actually sent it to several publishers, and it ended up being a blessing in disguise that the publishers, even though they said no, they rejected it. All of them had really positive feedback. All of them said, listen, the writing's great, the proposal's great. We just don't think the market's big enough. We don't think there's enough pastors looking for this book right now. I totally understood that. And that's when I actually started using it to build an email list. If it would have got accepted, who knows if Sermon to Book and Speak to Book and these businesses that have become, multi-million-dollar businesses ever would have seen the light of day. So that's something to keep in mind. Rejection isn't always the worst thing. Now, one thing you may not know is that getting an agent to sign you can almost be as difficult as getting a publisher to sign you. It is very, very hard to get an agent. To give you some perspective, I went to dozens of conferences, and it took me about 7 years before I had signed an agent, published, all of that. So it can be a long journey. That said, I was starting from zero and didn't have the knowledge I have now that I've given you. And so there are shortcuts to that. And that's what I want this video to do, to give you what you need to snatch the attention of any agent, any publisher, anywhere. Okay, so going back to the proposal here, one of the biggest things, like all of this is following the rules. So Steve wants a content summary. So boom, give him a content summary. Hey, this is what the book's all about. Hey, give me an author bio. Okay, let's go over the author bio. I want a comparative analysis. I not only researched these books, I bought a ton of them, read a bunch of them. That takes a lot, right? And then the marketing. This is the number 3 of 5 things that I want to share with you today. The marketing is so, so important. I spoke with one of the big New York publishers. He's retired now, but he said basically in years past, 10, 20 years ago, they would take a chance on you if your marketing was basically, they knew you weren't going to be a good marketer. And he said today, that's just not the case. He says today, they just have to blow you off. And that's even if the message is amazing. Think about that. You could have the most amazing, inspired message, but without marketing, the publisher is just going to blow you off. That is a hard reality. And one of the reasons why I started my company is I wanted to flip that upside down. I wanted great messages, not just great marketing platforms. But that said, we want to go the traditional route. We need to focus on marketing. And that means you really have one of 2 paths. You can go like the route that I did. I found a mentor, and I learned internet marketing for 4 years. I invested 4 years of my life to learn everything about internet marketing. I wanted to become not just a great writer, but a great marketer. Or you need to pair yourself with a great marketer. You need to befriend a great marketer. You need to hire a great marketer. There's usually 2 huge investments that you have to decide upon. The investment of your time, like I did. I didn't have money, so I invested my time, spent 4 years, or you need to invest your money to hire an internet marketer to do everything that you need done. So let's go over some of the things that I did. This was several years ago. So this was still even at the beginning of my marketing journey. There's many more things I would add today, but this gives you an idea of what you want to be thinking about. So this very first thing, hey, killer new sermon to book website. That'll garner plenty of pastoral traffic. And that's true. Gets lots of traffic as it includes the sermon crunch, fill in the blanks template, allowing pastors to print off their sermon notes. So basically I was saying, hey, not only have I written this book, but there's additional resources that I've created for pastors, and they're at this site called Sermon to Book, which is going to get a lot of traffic. Hence, I can sell more books that way. Next thing, this is huge. Email list. At the time, it was 2,000 people. After I started using this to build my email list even more, it got up to 5,000. But email lists are huge to publishers. It's huge to anything. If you want to sell or create a platform is just how many people can you reach at the click of a button. And an email list is huge. If you have an email list of 10,000, awesome. Is it 20,000? Great. 50,000. Wow. 100,000. Amazing. But it also matters how engaged that email list is. No one's going to care if you just go buy an email list and it's not going to be worth anything because you haven't developed a relationship. An email list is only as good as the relationship that you start to develop. So if someone gives you their email list in exchange for some value, like say I gave someone Sermon Crunch and they gave me their info and I just started spamming them or trying to sell, guess what? No one's going to buy from that. It's not a good email list. I've ruined it. But if you've nurtured an email list, basically you've started a relationship, given away some value, and you keep giving value, most likely you're subscribed to different email lists that come to your inbox once a week, once a month, once a day, and you unsubscribe from everything that's not valuable to you. You need to be growing your email list in a way that people actually want your emails. And that is a great challenge because that means you have to continually give value. Sometimes your best value, your best content, because it's not, a lot of people think scarcity mindset, like, well, if I give them my best content, I'll have nothing to sell. But really what building an email list is you're building trust between you and readers. If you give away great value, all your readers think is, wow, like I really trust this person. And of course they're going to buy from you. And so email lists are huge. And then be another place is growing LinkedIn presence. LinkedIn is a great place to build a presence. Frankly, I don't spend a lot of time there, but I do strategically use it to connect with my ideal readers and or clients. And so if that makes sense for you, LinkedIn can be a good place. Growing Facebook page. Facebook pages back when this was written were a little bit more important. The algorithm since has changed, and they're really not that great. I mean, I have 200,000 people, or just under 200,000 people, who follow my Facebook page. Frankly, it's not worth anything. It's not that valuable because I can't reach too many people through it. Facebook's algorithm does not show my content to many people, and so it's really not worth that much. And so, and this is a good lesson. It's not about numbers. Like I said, big email lists could be worthless. A lot of Facebook followers could be worthless. And I bet your intuition is already telling you this. Like, I knew it. I knew it. There's a lot of people out there with huge followings that it doesn't mean anything. And publishers have really caught on to that too. Like, they know that you got to have actual quality followers, people who want your content. And so that's not as big. Here I list a connection. It's good to list connections like, hey, a connection at church leaders. Well, church leaders directly connected to pastors. That's a good thing to list. Logos Bible software used by pastors worldwide. Wonderful. Personal Facebook page, or that was a fan page. This is one I was talking about, 85,000. It's since got up to like 195, I think, and still not as powerful as it used to be. On email terms with these influencers. So these are pastors who know pastors. Again, thinking in terms of, hey, if I have the certain amount of people I can connect with who are my ideal readers, but then I know people who know more of my people who can say, hey, Caleb just wrote a book, check it out. So that's another good thing to put there. Now, so marketing, like, that pillar is so huge for you. And you might be thinking, I don't have an email list right now. I don't have all these numbers. Like I said, I'm just going to be completely straight. If you want to snatch the attention of any agent, publisher, publishing board, that's kind of, first you get an agent, then the agent finds an editor at a publishing house, then the editor takes it to a publishing board at that house to decide whether they're going to sign you. That's who you need to get by. And to do that, you absolutely need to have solid marketing. And again, you're either only going to get that by investing years of your life to learn it, or investing financially into building what you need, the systems in place to help you build relationships with your ideal readers every day. You do that through online marketing funnels. That is a video for another day, but you will see that video. Okay, just real quick going through the rest of this. So we have our manuscript status and details. This is another requirement. Hey, it's 32,000 words long and the manuscript's completed. That's huge. With nonfiction, you only need to submit usually 2 to 3 chapters and an outline. With fiction, you usually have to submit a completed manuscript. This, I had a completed nonfiction manuscript. That put me ahead of the game. So if you can complete your book, it is good. It does put kind of a feather in your cap, because the agent is going to want to know that you can follow through. Some people can write a great chapter. They can't write a great book. This kind of cracks me up. Additional ideas. So while I was communicating with this agent, they said, well, like, what other ideas do you have around this topic? And I'm like, I don't know, like sermon crunch. We'll see. So I brainstormed, and these titles just crack me up. Like, I don't even know what I was thinking, but these were all things that I personally would love to write about and dive into. I'm a real researcher, and I love finding out new things. So it wasn't hard for me to come up with these, like, hey, what's a book, kind of focused more on career, a book on public speaking, a book on, attracting a godly man or pursuing a godly woman, rekindling a relationship. And so Holy Speaker Crunch, Husband Crunch just cracks me up. But this goes back to rule number 2, follow the rules. When an agent or an editor asks you for additional book ideas based on your book, you give them to them. And at the end of the day, if he would have chosen one of these and I'm like, no, that's not really the book I know I should write, of course you wouldn't follow it. But this is more of a laughter for me and a reminder of rule number 2, follow the rules. If they ask, go for it. Endorsements. This is huge. So I sent my manuscript of Sermon Crunch, kind of the pre-manuscript, just as a PDF, gave it away to pastors for early reviews. So I gave it away for free in exchange for honest review. And I got lots of great honest reviews. And the honest reviews that didn't get here, that maybe were more critical, I used those ones to improve the manuscript. So if someone said, hey, I really like this, but I don't like that, well, I would go improve it and then make the manuscript better. So I got feedback on the actual manuscript along with some really great endorsements. So this is really big for you to do. Get those endorsements. Annotated chapter outline. So that's basically just, hey, give me the whole book. Give me the gist of it. So you write that out. You can see here, and this can be great because if like this doesn't catch your attention, then the book probably won't catch a reader's attention at the bookstore. So make sure you do a solid annotated outline. This goes over everything from the 7 pillars to the index, all of that. And then finally, the sample chapters. I think I only added, I only put in like the first 3 chapters, I think, in this particular proposal. And that's all you'll want to do in the proposal. But the whole manuscript was written, which again was a good mark. Point number 4, writing has to be good. It's sad when ideas get turned away because because you don't have marketing. That's something that's out of writing, like writer's control. Solid writing is in your control, and it should be. If you consider yourself a writer, like you need to send your best work. It needs to be really good. And if you know you're not a great writer, you have got to, again, either invest in the time to become a better writer or invest in the resources it's going to take to get a good editor or a book collaborator who's going to help you. I've been writing for a long time. Writing really as a teenager and into my early 20s, it was my only skill set that I considered was really good. And I went to school as a journalist, learned journalism, and got my first jobs as a journalist. So writing was, it came pretty naturally to me. Make sure that you know that your writing is good and don't have it be on just your opinion. I don't say I knew I was a good writer. I knew that was a skill set I liked, but I relied on other people saying, wow, this is really good. Don't judge yourself. Let others be the judge of your work mostly. And here's some caveats. Don't just listen to your mom, friends, family, especially ones who don't have who are gonna, not give it to you straight, because you're gonna want the solid feedback. Listen to the people who give you praise for what needed to be praised and give you good critique on what can be improved. And most importantly, and this is how I you separate the good from the bad of critiques, look for patterns. Get lots of people to review your work and then look for the patterns among them. Once you see those patterns, that's usually the things you must focus on. Forget the praise, forget all the super negative stuff. Look for the patterns. Look for what's repeated over and over. Okay, final thing I wanted to go over here was make it personal. This kind of is a bookend to what I talked about at the very beginning, about meeting those agents, editors, publishers, getting your face out there. Well, once you've done that and you've followed the rules and you've shown that you've invested in your marketing, you've shown you've invested in your writing, this gives you the ability to be creative and to be personal and to wow the agent or editor in a certain way. And so normally I'm very careful about things like this, because it's kind of like the person's like, I'm going to be creative and send my resume with solid neon green paper, because then it will stand out. That is not what we're going for here. But let me show you something. This was for another proposal where I got signed for my first fiction book with a traditional publisher. I had met the agent. I had followed the rules. I had worked on my marketing, my writing. So in an email separate from my proposal, again, I didn't even add it to my proposal because I wanted to stick to the rules. I linked to a personal video of me. That is not a very flattering picture of me. A personal video of me talking through some things and then saying, hey, here's why I'd be a great fit for this publisher, seasoned writer, successful marketer, team player. Hey, why isn't my book finished? Why should we sign? They should sign me right now, because normally you need to have a completed book before you sign with a publisher. And why me over another suspense writer? And so I went a little above and beyond. And this background picture is kind of like a it just reminded me of the kind of the setting that I have my book in. So a little extra there. And this is all built through some software that I learned while marketing. So I got to use my skills as a marketer and then just create something special, a web page, even little details like this. If you see up here, that's the publisher's icon that I made, as this is called a favicon. So I just put some detail into it. And here they could download my book, the first few chapters. And this just put a personal wow factor to it. Everything was personalized. When someone gets a video talking straight to them, when someone gets a website designed just for them, it gives you that wow factor. Again, stay away from the neon green paper, but wow. But put in that extra effort that truly will make you stand out, and let them know that you will work tirelessly to get them to sign you. These 5 things: meeting, following their rules, showing that you've invested in marketing, showing that you've invested in your writing, and then personally just wowing them. This is how you snatch the attention of any agent, any editor, any publishing board. Everyone, I hope that this has been a informative bonus video for you. Keep checking out the rest of the bonus material. I hope that you will learn a lot. My name is Caleb Breakey. As you know, I'm the founder and CEO of Sermon to Book and Speak It to Book. I've published traditionally, hybridly, self-published, and I just love being able to share these little nuggets of wisdom that I hope will help you on your journey to publication, whether that's traditional, hybrid, or self-publishing. All right, everybody, have a great rest of the day. We'll talk to you soon.